On December 5th, 2013, we lost a very special man who was considered South Africa's father because of the revolution that he led and also the peace that he brought onto his nation. Nelson Mandela is a very inspirational man who has, throughout his life, taught many leaders all around the world how, through peace, you could be just as successful as through violence. Hello, my name is Abdul Corona, and today I would like to inform you all about this great man who has changed the perspective of not just his nation, but the world all around. The motive of telling you all about the life of Mandela is so that you can be touched about how he had to struggle just to bring peace onto his country. With the help of sources such as Chelsea J. Carter from CNN and also biography.com, I'll be able to tell you how great this man is in great detail. I'm going to tell you guys the early life of Nelson Mandela, his imprisonment and how he led the revolution, and also how he became the first black president of South Africa. Let's begin. Now, first I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about his early life. According to Dr. Chidi Knox of the Chatham House, Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918 in South Africa. Nelson was raised in a little village by his father and mother up until the age of 9 when his father died of a lung disease. When his father passed away, one of the chiefs of the village decided to take him as his own son and raised him. He took him to a different place and put him into a school, and Nelson Mandela was the first child of his family to ever get an education. As going to school, and I quote, he developed an interest in African history from his elders. He learned how his people lived in relative peace until the coming of the white man, unquote. In 1939, Mandela enrolled at the University College of Fort Hare, which was the only higher education institution which allowed blacks to get an education. He spent 2 years at the school until getting expelled by resigning from the presidential candidate of the student union and joining a huge, massive boycott. He then had the ultimatum of going back into the student council and then going back to school. Now, having made the decision of not going back to the school, when he went back home, his father decided to tell him that if he did not go back to school, he will be in an arranged marriage. Being outraged by this, Nelson Mandela had no other choice but to flee and run away to Johannesburg, where he decided to get his bachelor's degree through different programs while working as a clerk and also as a security guard. Once he earned his bachelor's degree, he decided to study law at Witwatersrand. Now that I told you a little bit about his early life, I'm going to tell you about how he led the revolution and also how he became imprisoned. Quote, Nelson Mandela, while increasingly politically involved in 1942, he only joined the African National Congress in 1944, unquote. He helped form together the ANC Youth League, and the Youth League decided to no longer do things politely, like how the regular ANC did, but to start doing strikes, boycotts, and other tactics of civil disobedience with, and I quote, goals of policy of full citizenship, redistribution of land, trade union rights, and free compulsory education for all children, unquote. In 1956, Mandela and 150 others who were part of the ANC Youth League were arrested and charged with treason, only to be acquitted, and this information is provided from biography.com. In 1961, seeing that the only possible way to bring peace to his nation was through violence, Mandela planned out a 3-day national worker strike and was arrested the following year and was sentenced to prison for 5 years. Now, after the 5 years were up, he went back to trial and was actually charged with a lifetime in prison with 10 other ANC leaders. Finally, I would like to tell you guys how he became the first black president of South Africa. Now, according to John Carlin of the Cairo Review of Global Affairs, Common, in 1982, Mandela and other ANC leaders were transferred to the Pollsmoor prison so that the government will easily be able to contact them. The then president gave Mandela an offer that if he renounced armed struggle, then they will release him. Now, seeing that this was a way to stop the revolution that Nelson Mandela had worked so hard to create, he said no. Now, the government also kept on trying to persuade Nelson Mandela to take up an offer, but they decided not to. And with the influence of other nations, not only in Africa but also around the world, they just were in a tight situation. Finally, on February 11, 1990, the new president of South Africa, F.W. de Klerk, released Mandela. As being released, Mandela still spoke of peace, but wanted the ANC to continue armed struggle until the majority of blacks were allowed to vote. Mandela and de Klerk negotiated about having the country's first multicultural election. The negotiations were successful after 3 long years, and they earned the Nobel Prize. In 1994, South Africa held its first democratic/multicultural election, with Mandela winning and de Klerk being his first deputy. As the president of his nation that he has fought so hard to have peace, he continued to do great things in his time of power, such as encouraging the black majority to not hate the white minorities, and also use sports as a gateway to deliver messages, such as hosting the Rugby World Cup in 1995. He also saved the economy of South Africa from collapsing by creating job opportunities, housing, and basic healthcare. Now that I've told you about Nelson Mandela's legacy, let's review. I have informed you guys of the early life of Nelson Mandela, his imprisonment, and how he became the first black president of South Africa. Mandela was a great man who did not only try to help his country when he was president, but also, after he left office, he still strived to make it a better place. If there are more leaders like Mandela out in the world will be a much greater place. Now, here's an interesting quote that I thought that I'll leave you guys before I leave. It is in your hands to make of our world a better one for all. Thank you.